Hi, this is Gorja Erin, and I'll be talking about my paper Number Feature Distortion Causes Grammaticality Illusion in Hindi Sentences. Consider the sentence स्कूल में शिक्षक ने छात्र को किताब से पढ़ाया था, which means the teacher taught the student using a book in the school. To make sense of this, readers need to figure out who did what to whom, and this interpretation is built incrementally. So, what cognitive processes underlie this real time sentence comprehension process? Working memory is known to play a central role. Readers need to maintain, retrieve, and integrate linguistic chunks while reading sentences. Cue-based retrieval is a working memory-based model which says comprehension process is driven by a content addressable search in the memory, which means cues encountered at the verb help readers search for the accurate subject noun that must agree with the verb. However, a key assumption of this model is that the representation of the sentence material is stored in the memory exactly how it is and is retrievable. A new proposal is representation distortion, which says that sentence material stored in the memory probabilistically distorts to a non-veridical representation over time, and such distortion can occur due to deletion, insertion, or feature misbinding errors. For example, an ungrammatical sentence may distort to a grammatical version in the memory. Feature distortion has been shown to occur in English and Russian as well as Hindi. The theoretical importance of this proposal is that it is a new theory of how working memory drives sentence comprehension, and it also aligns with the feature misbinding in visual processing. However, so far it lacks testing using well controlled experiments, and the nature of the distortions is ill understood. We test this proposal in Hindi because the rich case marking of the language might cause confusability or feature misbinding errors. Working memory effects, which are often observed in English, are not found present in Hindi. We ask, does representation distortion occur in Hindi? And if it does, what are the kinds of distortions that occur when pre-verbal nouns are stored in the memory during the argument-verb dependency completion process? We use an acceptability judgment task on Hindi sentences. So, for a Hindi sentence to be grammatical, the subject noun must agree in number with the verb. Here we present an ungrammatical sentence where the noun phrase is plural but the verb phrase is singular. However, a distorted version could represent the noun phrase to be singular, which matches in number with the singular verb phrase. And then this ungrammatical sentence would become highly acceptable to the participants. We had six conditions which had different combinations of match and mismatch in number feature between the subject noun, the distractor noun phrase, and the verb phrase. We had two grammatical and two ungrammatical conditions. We considered four models of acceptability ratings. The null hypothesis model was the Q-based retrieval model, whereas we had three representation distortion models. The first, plural marker deletion on the first NP, which is the deletion error model. Second, the plural marker insertion in the first NP, which is the insertion error model. And the third, plural marker swap between first and second noun phrases, which is the swap error model. 74 native Hindi speakers participated in the experiment. So the results showed that the grammatical conditions A and B were significantly more acceptable than other conditions. However, no significant differences were seen between A, B, C, D, and E, F. These conditions differed in terms of the number feature on the distractor noun phrase, which seemed not to have an effect on the acceptability ratings of the sentences. Amongst the ungrammatical sentences, C and D, which required an insertion error for this sentence to become grammatical, were found to be less acceptable than E and F, which required deletion error for them to become grammatical. This implies that deletion error occurs more frequently than insertion error. We also generated prior predictions for the null hypothesis and the three representation distortion models. The representation distortion models performed better than the null hypothesis model, which indicates that distortion does occur when sentence material is stored in the memory. Amongst the three distortion models, the deletion error model showed the best qualitative fit to the data. The present results implied that the plural feature number marking on the pre-verbal subject noun gets probabilistically deleted in ungrammatical sentences, which impacts the verb argument dependency completion process. While other formulations of the representation distortion proposal, such as the lossy context model, has typically allowed for a lot of modeler's degree of freedom in specifying exactly the lossy memory encoding function, the present study lays a framework to systematically evaluate the specific kind of morphological feature distortion that can occur when sentence material is stored in the memory. Thank you.